How y'all doing today? This is Pete, and we're over here at D.I.Y. Auto School. And what we got a 1968 Mustang. This is the factory original Mustang steering wheel. Now, we got some issues with it, and I'm going to kind of basically show you how to restore this.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
If we look right here in this area, you can see there's a crack here, there's one here, there's another one over here, and then as we turn it over, there's several cracks in the weep holes. That's where they usually crack, these little weep holes. And you can see right here, alright, there's a weep hole. And that's an extrusion from the mold when they put the plastic on it. We got a real big one right here that goes all the way around. Restoring these steering wheels is a very, very time-consuming and tedious job. And to do it right, it's a time-consuming and tedious job to make it proper and to do it right. We also have some minor cracks down here in this area, so you can see that. So what I'm going to do is I'll take you through the steps of restoring a steering wheel, because when you buy the aftermarket steering wheels, once again, aftermarket is aftermarket. It doesn't fit, and I mean, we already know the story on the aftermarket, so we're not even going to go there, because we're going to go ahead and restore the original one. And hopefully, if I can get my glue in here, there we go, make it all work. So the first thing that we need to do is, of course, we need to get our steering wheel out of the car, and we need to take all of the horn buttons off, the horn rings, any type of items or material that we are not going to be restoring. All we want is the bare steering wheel. Now I can go ahead and take this off, but I don't really need to. I'm going to go ahead and tape it off instead when I go to refinish it. So this is our steering wheel in question. Once again, it's a 1968 Mustang. Always wear your safety glasses when doing this job. And let's go ahead and get started. So what we got here is a air-driven cutoff wheel. And we are going to take our steering wheel, and this can get a little bit tedious, but we're going to clean out all these cracks. So all we're doing is taking our cutting wheel, and we are cleaning out where the cracks are, and we're not done with that yet. Anywhere that you see a crack, you got to get it out. And once again, I'm taking my cutoff wheel, and you can see what's going on. Okay? And a lot of these cracks, here's one, and this crack here comes over here, and then it goes over here, and then it comes back over here. So you can kind of see what's going on here. Here's another one. And let's not worry about the plastic, the melting plastic right now. We're basically going around it to clean it. You really got to have good light when you're doing this. And the reason is if we look right here, look at this. Okay, when you're working on a black steering wheel, you want to be able to see everything. One more thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go get me a brand new pair of safety glasses. These are old and scratched, and they're still good for some stuff, but when you're working on detail stuff like this, it's really nice to have a brand new pair. Okay, here we go. That's a lot better. Always try to protect your eyes and make sure that you can use good protection on your eyes where you can see what's going on. So when you're using tools like this, you don't cut your fingers off or your hands or possibly maybe your arm. So I see a big long crack right here, and this one actually goes all the way around. And the reason we're using this, we're actually cleaning the groove out. You got to have something that's going to clean the groove out. So what I use is my cutoff wheel. And at the same time, what I'm doing is I'm actually opening it up a little bit and I'm beveling the edges. And I'm stopping the crack. I used to do a lot of steering wheel restoration in my days, but due to the fact that these cars aren't being restored like they used to, process of elimination. People aren't doing this anymore as much as they used to, and I'm afraid to say, but by the time I get done closing my shop down, there's not going to be any more restoration shops. They're going to whittle down, twiddle down, and people are not going to be getting their cars restored because the new age and the new era is coming in and taking over. And what that new age and era is throwaways. People are in the throwaway world. I actually read several articles, let me go ahead and talk for a minute, where the aftermarket, there's 2 aftermarket manufacturers overseas that produce aftermarket parts for classic and vintage cars. They have actually closed their doors and went out of business. They are no more in business, and because there's just not people out there that are doing this anymore. People are not taking their time to restore old cars or to spend the money that it takes to restore the old car. Now, when you're using your cutoff wheel or whatever you're using, if you got a crack, and I don't have anything to point at, but let's say the crack stops right here. You want to go past that crack, because if you don't go past the crack and you stop it right at the crack, what's going to happen? It's going to continue to crack later. You've got to chase the crack out of the wheel. Here's one right here. I'm going to go ahead and get a little of that action going. But it's very important that you chase the cracks out of the plastic. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this tool right here, this burring tool, and then we're going to go ahead and go over. And what I'm doing is I'm beveling. I want to put a bevel on the edges of these cuts that I made. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, now that we have actually cleaned out all our grooves and we feathered them all out using our air tools, what we're going to do next is we're going to take a flat wire brush, and we're also going to have a flat screwdriver with us. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean all those out using my wire brush. And what this is going to do, it's going to get all that melted plastic and all that dirt out of there. But we're not done there, so just hang on. And then I'm going to take my screwdriver, and I can see where we had a little issue on this one. We didn't clean it out good enough, so I'll take this, my cutting wheel, and that was probably from plastic that was melting and it got in the groove. This is very important that you clean this out thoroughly like you see me doing. I don't like the way that one looks. I'm going to go ahead and make it, I'm actually going to make it a little bigger. I don't like the way that one looks. We're going to come down there like that. And then once that dries up, we'll knock that off. But then I'm going to take this one more time. Remember what I told you about beveling those edges? Very important. Restoring this steering wheel is actually showing my age. Nobody does this anymore. This is a dying deal. If you need your steering wheel restored and you want to keep your classic steering wheel, contact me. You can reach me in the description of this video. My website and emails and phone numbers is on there. And contact me if you have a vintage classic steering wheel that you need restored. I will say that they aren't cheap to restore, and prices vary due to how many situations and problems that you have on your steering wheel. There's a lot of steering wheels out there you can't even purchase anymore, and they need restored. Okay, if we look right here, we can see how nice and beveled out that is, and you can see how clean it is. Are you looking at all this, everybody? So you can see there was actually some serious issues with this wheel. Not as bad as some of them I've done. And I'm going to take my cutting wheel to this one again. I don't like the way this one came out. It looks like we're good to go with our next step. So, being as old as this steering wheel is, we're going to go ahead and double and triple clean this steering wheel off. Some steering wheels aren't restorable. I can tell you that right now. But if you have a steering wheel that you need restored, and you want my friend Pete to inspect it for you, give me a holler. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some carburetor cleaner, and I don't use brake fluid cleaner or brake cleaner spray. I use carb cleaner. A lot of people say to use brake cleaner. I don't believe in the brake cleaner. Brake cleaner will actually break down the plastic, whereas carb cleaner won't. So we're just going to spray our cracks with our carburetor cleaner, just like you see me doing right here. And what this is going to do, this is actually going to clean out and sterilize all of our gaps and grooves that we need to repair. Okay, there you go. We actually have this steering wheel ready to restore and to get her done. So, we're going to go ahead and take a 5-minute break, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you the product that I use to fill this in.
Now's the time that you want to hit the subscribe button, click on that bell for notifications, and comment below. Because if you don't, this big blob of Mondo's going to be inside your bed covers tonight when you crawl in there, and it's going to get in places that we really don't want to talk about right now. Do, my friend, pay the favor and subscribe. Now, do it, or that Mondo's going to do you.
Okay, we're back, and what we got here is I'm going to take my air blower and then I'm just going to blow everything out really well. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get some 2-inch tape. And I'm going to go ahead and let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think that's all we got. We got 10 cracks, so I'm going to get 10 pieces of tape. And I'm going to put them over here on the edge, just like this. All right, now that we're ready to go ahead and start repairing what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put a piece of paper down on this piece of wood. I don't want to get this glue all over the stuff that I use. A lot of people are going to tell you that you can use Bondo. You can't use Bondo. If you use Bondo, Bondo's going to shrink, it's going to fall out, and it's not going to be worth a shit. What we're going to do is we're going to use a 2-part high tensile strength industrial epoxy glue. And then this stuff here, another good thing about this, it dries very quickly. Now, there's another product that you can use, and I'm going to go get it. I want to show that to you. And the product that I'm talking about is the PC7, 2-part epoxy. This is just 1 part. I brought this over to show you. This is an epoxy paste that you mix up. It's a 2-part epoxy paste. This is part, what is this, part A, and then you got part B. You mix the two together, and it's, if anybody's ever heard of JB Weld, it's basically like JB Weld. I don't like using this stuff. This has air pockets in it. This will work, but it takes a lot of work to make it work. If you get what I'm saying. You have to mix it up 100% thoroughly, and then when you fill all your cracks in, you got to knead it in there just like dough. If you don't get it all the way in there, what happens is you're going to have an air pocket in there, and then it's just going to fall out eventually sooner. So you can use this if you want, but it takes 10 times longer to use this than it does the 2-part high tensile strength epoxy glue. So we're going to go ahead and get this going. Now you see I got all my tape here. We're going to go ahead and turn this over. And this is where you should have 2 hands, 2 extra hands. But we're going to do it with just our 2 hands. And hopefully it's all going to work out. But this is where you would actually have 2 hands to hold for you and to put tape on. So I'm going to take my glue and I'm putting it in here just like this. Do you see what's going on? And then I'm going to take my tape and start my tape around. So here's one right here. We're going to put our glue in. And don't worry about it falling out. It'll be okay. And then make sure that your tape doesn't stick together. So we're going to start that one on there. And you're kind of getting the idea what's going on here. So we got this one here. So we got 3 major cracks. And once again, if you have a helping hand, it really helps to have that hand with you. We're going to turn this over now, just like this. And then while it's sitting in this spot right here, we're going to go ahead and finish out these cracks, putting our epoxy glue in, and then taking our tape and taping it off. And now you see why I got paper. This is a very messy job. And you got to work quick with this glue, because if you don't, it will dry in the tube. And that's what we don't want. So you got to be quick. Let's go ahead and get this one. You got to be quick. This stuff is a high tensile strength glue, and once you put it on, and it becomes a mess as well. Okay, that one there. I'm not pushing hard on the tape. The reason I'm using the tape is so it will not fall out of the groove while it is drying. So keep that in mind as you see me do this. The only reason we're using tape is to hold it in place so it doesn't fall out. Okay, so what we'll do now is we will let that sit, and then we will go ahead and take the pressure off of our glue, because this is very expensive. Did I mention that? And then we'll go ahead and remove our tip so the product doesn't dry up. And then we'll put that in here just like that. And we'll take our rag and wipe it off, of course. And normally you would have an extra set of hands helping you. But like I said, we're kind of alone today, and that's that. Let me go ahead and let this dry. We're going to let it dry for approximately 2 hours. We're going to come back, and I'm going to show you how to finish this dog out. And one more thing, we might have to repeat our process. We might have to repeat our glue process one more time. We'll find that out in 2 hours.